Thumbs up. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the public hearing for May 21st, 2024. As we have quorum, I will call the meeting to order. The time is 7 p.m. Always like to start the meeting off in a good way by acknowledging that the city of Maple Ridge carried out its business on the traditional and unceded territories of the Katzie First Nation and the Kwantlen First Nation. Over to you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you. This public hearing is being held pursuant to sections 464 and 465 of the Local Government Act. The public hearing is being live streamed and recorded and will be available to the public for playback on the city website in accordance with Council Policy 3.12. The purpose of a public hearing is to allow all persons who believe that their interest in property is affected by the proposed bylaw a reasonable opportunity to be heard or to present written submissions respecting matters contained in the bylaw that is the subject of the hearing. Council's role in a public hearing is to listen. This is not a forum for debate or comment by council, nor for gestures or remarks of support or opposition from council. All persons who believe that their interest in property is affected by the proposed bylaws will be asked to provide their name and city of residence for the record before beginning their remarks to give council an idea of proximity to the application. Please note that comments can only be accepted regarding bylaws that are the subject of this public hearing. The corporate officer will confirm whether the statutory requirements for each of the items at this public hearing have been met. The planning department staff will give a presentation on the item, after which the chair will issue 3 calls for public comment on the bylaws. Each person wishing to speak will be allotted 5 minutes to speak per call to a maximum of 15 minutes. Speakers are asked to provide their name and city of residence before beginning their comments and to address only the issue at hand. Staff will respond to technical questions where possible. For members of the public attending in person who would like to speak, please approach the podium when the chair calls for public input. If you are participating electronically, please register as a speaker by raising your hand and turning on your camera. After the public hearing has been closed, council cannot receive any further communication, written or verbal, regarding the public hearing item. Further consideration of bylaws on this agenda will take place at the next regular council meeting.
Thank you very much. Did you want to introduce the next item?
Sure, here we go. The first item on tonight's agenda is item 2.1. This is application 2022-326RZ at 12050 York Street. The subject application is to rezone the subject properties from RS1 single detached residential to RT1 2-unit urban residential to allow for the future construction of a duplex. The bylaws associated with this application are Maple Ridge Zone Amending Bylaw number 7902-2023. The statutory requirements have been met for this public hearing, with notices posted in the May 10th and May 17th editions of the local newspaper, and with 40 notices being mailed out and 0 pieces of correspondence being received in relation to this application.
And sir, you have a presentation for us.
Yes, Mayor and Council and public, the application before you is an area designated urban residential in the official community plan. The existing zoning is RS1, single detached residential, is proposed to be rezoned to RT1 2-unit or duplex urban residential. The existing site area is approximately 8,500 square feet. And as noted, this is for construction of a duplex, this rezoning. This is the subject property on the street address cadastral map. It's the subject property on the ortho photo showing the built environment as of 2023. And this is the subject property showing the urban residential designation in the official community plan. As noted, this application has been received to rezone the property from RS1 to RT1 to allow for the construction of a duplex. The RT1 requires a minimum lot size of 750 square meters. After road dedication, the proposed area will be approximately 789 square meters, 8,500 square feet. The minimum lot Width for this zone is 20 meters or 65.6 feet, and the minimum lot depth is 27 meters. The property meets these requirements for the zoning. The application also meets the requirements for the parking and loading bylaw that requires 2 parking spaces be provided in a garage for each unit, and one of which would be capable of level 2 charging. As noted, this plan is proposed rezoning is consistent with the official committee plan. And if the application were to proceed to adoption, there would be a $7,400 community amenity contribution payable to the city. This is a site plan showing the proposed duplex facing York Street with 2 separate driveways leading out to a combined driveway onto York Street, and then the rear yard to the east. The conditions for this rezoning for completion would be that there be road dedication to widen York Street as required, restriction of a covenant for duplex design, a covenant for stormwater management, removal of the existing building, and just standard confirmation from the Ministry of Environment through the site disclosure statement that there is no contamination that would need to put a hold on this application, and also the standard requirement for all our rezoning applications, in addition to the site disclosure statement, that there be confirmation from an engineer there's no fuel storage tank on the site, and if so, there'd be a stage 1 environmental report required to confirm the site is not contaminated. And the voluntary contribution of $7,400 at adoption, as noted previously, as per the community amenity contribution policy. Your worship, council, and public.
Thank you very much. At this time, we'll open it up for comments from chambers or from anybody who's online. If there's anybody that'd like to speak to this, please walk up to the podium. Not seeing anybody online. So I'll close the first round and then I'll ask for a second round, chance to come up and speak to this item. Seeing none and nobody again online, I will close the second round and third and final round. Seeing none, and nobody's online again. So I will close this item for public hearing, and thank you very much. We'll move on to the next item, please.
Thank you. The next item is 2.2. This is application 2023-208RZ 12035 Glenhurst Street. And the subject application is to rezone the subject properties from RS1 single detached residential to R4 single detached infill urban residential to allow for the future subdivision of 2 lots. The bylaw associated with this application is Maple Ridge Zone Amending Bylaw number 7958-2023. The statutory requirements have been met for this public hearing, with notices posted in the May 10th and May 17th editions of the local newspaper, and with 41 notices being mailed out and 0 pieces of correspondence being received in relation to this application.
Mr. McMillan, you have the floor again.
Too far. If you can reverse the slide, please. Thanks. The subject development application is for urban residential designated property. The current zoning is RS1 single detached residential, and the proposed zoning is R4 single detached infill urban residential. The existing site area is approximately 0.29 acres, and 2 lots are proposed. This subject property on the street address cadastral map, showing it on Glenhurst. This is the subject property on the ortho photo, showing the built environment around the area. This is the subject property on the official community plan map, showing it designated as urban residential. As noted, this application being received to rezone the subject property from RS1 single detached residential to R4 single detached infill residential to permit the subdivision of 2 lots. Both the proposed lots will be accessed off of Glenhurst Street. The existing single family dwelling would be required to be removed as a condition of rezoning, and this application is consistent with the official community plan that permits the R4 zoning in the area. And if the application to proceed to adoption, there'd be a $9,200 community amenity contribution payable to the city. This is a subject proposed subdivision application showing 2 lots on Glenhurst, noting that the minimum lot size in the R4 zone is 450 square meters, and the lot to the south is 509 square meters, and the lot to the north is larger at 624 square meters, to allow for the angled shape of the lot and the statutory right of way for a drainage pipe running along the north side of the lot. And the terms and conditions of the bylaw are that there be a rezoning service agreement, restrictive covenant registered, and receipt of security deposit as outlined in the servicing agreement. Road dedication on Glenhurst Street is required. Registration of a covenant for stormwater management, removal of existing building, and the standard requirements for confirmation through the site disclosure statement with the Ministry of Environment that there would be no hold on this application going forward for final adoption or development permit or development variance permit. And also that there would be site disclosure, in addition to the site disclosure statement, a statement from an engineer confirming there's no underground fuel storage tank on the property. And if there was one, there'd be a stage 1 environmental investigation required to confirm there's no contamination on the site. And as noted above, there's a voluntary contribution of $9,200, which would be required to be paid at adoption for community many contributions. Council public.
Thank you very much. At this point, I will open up the floor to comments from anybody in chambers or online. And if you wish to speak to this item, please come up to the podium, state your name and your place of residence, and you'll have up to 5 minutes. You certainly can. You get 5 minutes, or you can take your turn and come back
Okay.
for 5 minutes.
My name is Denis Deshotel, and I live at 12040 232B. And this is my neighbor. He lives right next door. That property is right behind us. And basically, we would like to, because we are not sure what it's all, that's have to do the whole thing there. Basically, they have a lot of tree. They're gonna need to be cut. We want to know what's gonna be involved in it, because that's gonna affect our property. The tree, they are right against our fence. And basically, what they're gonna do for us when they cut those trees, because we are afraid that's gonna damage our side, because they are big tree. So, is there anything else you can think, or?
Sorry, my name is David Nyholm. I'm the owner of 12050 232B, which is directly behind that property. And same thing, I just want to know what's happening with the trees and whether or not, if the fence is damaged, what they're going to do with that. And yeah, that's about it.
So can I ask, are the trees on your property or
No,
on the
they are
existing
on
property?
The property that wants to be developed.
It's right against the fence.
There's probably about
basically.
15 of them all the way along the fence line.
Yeah. on the side.
Okay, and so you're also concerned about if there's any damage done to
The
your
fence.
fence?
Those
Yes.
are big tree, actually. They're very big.
Okay.
tree.
Yeah, and
Okay.
then basically we're gonna lose all privacy that would be in the backyard from that point. So I don't know if they plant a few more trees or what the deal is, but
So when these sort of things happen, obviously there's so we have tree bylaws which mandate certain things must be done.
right.
I can't speak to this one's particular. However, if you leave your name with and your phone number with us, we can at least reach out to you and maybe you'll take a look to see what your concerns are in that sense.
Okay.
Fair enough?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just leave it with Claudia over there.
Okay.
Perfect.
When we're done.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak to this item? Seeing none, then nobody's online? All right, so I'll close the first round. Round two, anybody wishes to speak to this item? Seeing none, close this round, and third and final round. Anybody else wishes to speak to this item? None? Thank you very much. Then we'll close this round. And thank you very much. This item is now closed for public hearing. And seeing as how we have no further business, we will adjourn. Thank you all very much for being here today.